look exactly like an egg.
It is very provoking to be called an egg.
Well, I said you look like an egg, sir. Some eggs are very pretty, you know.
Some people have no more sense than a baby.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
Don't just stand there chattering to yourself like that. But tell me your name and your business.
My name is Alice, but
It's a stupid enough name. What does it mean?
must a name mean something?
Of course it must. My name means the shape I am, and a good handsome shape it is too. With a name like yours, you might be any shape almost.
Why do you stay out here all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody with me. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? Ask another.
Well, don't you think it'd be safer down on the ground? This wall is so very narrow.
Of course I don't think so. Why, if I ever did fall off, which there's no chance of, but if I did fall, if I fell, the king has promised me with his very own mouth
To sell all his horses and all of his men?
Yes, all his horses and all his men. They'd pick me up again in a minute. They would. However, this conversation's going on a little too fast. It's my turn to choose a subject. How old did you say you were?
10 years and 6 months.
Wrong! You never said a word like it.
I thought you meant how old are you?
If I'd met them, I'd have said it. 10 years and 6 months, an uncomfortable sort of age. Now, if you'd asked my advice, I'd have said leave off at 10.
I never asked advice about growing.
Too proud.
No, but that one can't help oneself growing older.
One can't perhaps, but two can. With proper assistance, you might have left off at 10.
What a beautiful cravat you've got on. Or a belt. A cravat, I should have said. I'm sure I'm very sorry.
It is a most provoking thing when a person doesn't know the difference between a cravat and a belt.
I know, it's very ignorant of me.
It's a cravat, child, and a beautiful one, as you say. The king and queen gave it to me as a present. There now.
Did they really?
They gave it to me as an unbirthday present.
What's an unbirthday present?
A present given to you when it isn't your birthday, of course.
I like birthday presents best.
You don't know what you're talking about. How many days are there in a year?
365.
And how many birthdays have you?
Well, one, of course.
And when you take one from 365, what remains?
364.
That seems to be done right, though I haven't the time to see it done properly on paper just now. Anyhow, that shows that there are 364 days when you might get birthday presents.
You seem very clever, sir, but really I must be going.
Do as you wish. Goodbye.
Goodbye, till we meet again.
I should know you again if we did meet. You're so exactly like other people.
Well, the facial work goes by generally.
That's just what I complain of. The two eyes, nose in the middle, mouth under, it's always the same. Now, if you had your two eyes on the same side, for instance, or your mouth on the top, that would look way better.
Well, I don't think it looked very nice.
Wait till you try!
All the unsatisfactory people I've ever met.
Oh.
You haven't seen any soldiers, my dear, as you came through the woods?
Yes, I did. Several thousand, I should think.
The king sent 4,207, that exact number. He couldn't send all the horses, you know, because 2 of them are wanted for their croquet game. And I haven't sent the 2 messengers either. Look along the road so we'll see either of them.
I see nobody along the road.
I only wish I saw you, such as nobody. And that too, I hardly see anyone with real people in this line.
I don't suppose you know where the queen is today.
The queen's that way. Why do you want to see the queen for?
Well, I don't know her, you see.
That's fair enough, otherwise you won't want to see her.
Just that I'm trying to be at home and... Oh, Tiger Lily, I wish you could talk.
We can talk, when there's anybody worth talking to.
And can all the flowers in the garden talk?
As well as you can. And a great deal louder.
It isn't good manners for us to begin, you know, and I really was wondering when you speak. Her face has got some sense in it, though. It's not a clever one. Still, you're the right color, and that goes a long way.
I don't care about the color. If only her petals curled up a little more, then she'd be all right.
Aren't you sometimes trying to be planted out here with nobody to take care of you?
Well, there's the tree in the middle. What else is it good for?
What could it do if it endangered you?
It goes bow wow. That's why its branches are called bows. Didn't you know that?
Of course I knew that! Silence! Every one of you! They know I can't get over them. Wouldn't dare to do it.
you don't hold your tongues, I'll pick you.
That's right. The daisies are the worst of all. When one begins, they all speak together, and it's enough to make one wither to hear the way they go on.
How is it you can all talk so nicely? I've been many gardens before, but none of the flowers could talk.
Put your hand down and feel the ground. Then you'll know why.
It's very hard, but I don't see what that has to do with it.
In most gardens, they make the flower beds too soft, so the flowers are always asleep.
I never thought of that before.
It's my opinion that you never think at all.
Hold your tongue, if you know what's going on in the world more if you are a bud.
Are there any other people in the garden besides me?
Well, there is one other flower that grew about like you. I wonder how you do it.
There's another little girl in the garden like me, exactly?
Well, she has the same awkward shape as you.
Her petals are tumbled about like yours too.
But that's not your fault. You're beginning to fade, you know, and then one can't help one's petals being a little untidy.
When did you see her here?
Well, there's already been 2 of you today, so I'll dare say you'll see another one soon, I'm sure.
Well, but when she left here, do you recall which way she went?
Where did you come from and where are you going anyway?
I seem to have lost my way, I'm afraid.
I don't know what you mean by your way. All the ways about here belong to the queen. The queen.
If I remember right, the last one of you went that way towards Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee, you mean like the poem?
You know it, don't you?
Tweedledum and Tweedledee agreed to have a battle, for Tweedledum said Tweedledee had spoiled his nice new rattle. Just then flew down a monstrous crow as black as a tar barrel, which frightened both the heroes so they quite forgot their quarrel.
If you think what wax works, you ought to pay, you know. Wax works were made to be looked at for nothing, know how. Contrary-wise, if you think we're alive, you ought to speak.
I'm sure I'm very sorry.
I know what you're thinking, but it isn't so, know how. Contrary-wise, if it was so, it would be. If it were so, it might be. But it isn't, it ain't, that's logic.
Would you tell me, please, which is the best way out of the woods?
You've been wrong. First thing you do in a visit is to say, how do you do and shake hands.
They would never do to say how do you do now. You seem to have gotten beyond that point somehow.
No how, and thank you very much for asking.
Are there any lions or tigers about here?
Why, so we go right next door. Come and look at it. Why, isn't he a lovely sight? Fit to snow us head off.
I'm afraid he'll catch a cold lying on the damp grass.
He's dreaming now, and what do you suppose he's dreaming about?
Well, nobody could guess that.
You. He's dreaming about you. And if he left off dreaming about you, where do you suppose you'd be?
Where I am now, of course.
No, not you. You're only sort of thing in his dreams, you know. If that there night was to wake, you go bang, just like a candle.
I shouldn't. Besides, if I'm only a sort of thing in his dreams, then what are you? I should like to know.
Ditto. Ditto, ditto.
Hush, you'll be making him, I'm afraid, if you make too much noise.
Well, it's no use in talking about waking him when you're only one of the things in his dream. You know very well you're not real.
I am real.
You won't make yourself a bit real by crying. Nothing to cry about.
If I was real, I should be able to cry.
I don't suppose those are real tears.
I know you're talking nonsense and it's foolish to cry about it, but really, we better be going. It's growing rather dark. Do you think it's going to rain?
No, I don't think so. At least not under here, no how.
But it may rain outside.
It may, if it chooses. We've got no objection contrary-wise. Do you see that?
It's only a rattle, not a rattlesnake, you know.
I knew it was. It's ruined, of course.
It's only an old rattle, quite old and broken.
But it's not old. It's new, I tell you. I bought it yesterday. It's my nice new rattle. Of course, you agree to have a battle.
Yes, only she must help us dress, you know.
What?
I hope you're a good hand at pinning and tying strings. Every one of these things has to go on somehow or other.
Really, you'll be more like Wendell's of old cloak by the time we're finished.
Please tie this securely around my neck
What for?
to keep my head from being cut off. It's the most serious thing that can happen to one in battle, getting one's head cut off. great generally. Only today I happen to have a headache.
And I've got a toothache. I'm far worse off than you know.
Then you better not fight today.
We must have a bit of a fight. I don't care how long it lasts. What's the time now?
4:30.
Let's fight till 6 and then have dinner.
Yes, only generally, you must not stand too close. I hit everything I can see when I get really excited.
And I hit everything within reach, whether I could see it or not.
You must hit the trees pretty often, I should think.
I don't suppose there'll be a tree standing by the time we finish.
Oliver rattled.
I shouldn't have minded it so much if it hadn't have been a new one.
I wish Monsters Crow would come around and drag you both away.
There's only one sword in here, you know. But you can have the umbrella. It's quite a sharp, only we must speak it quick. It's getting dark as it can.
And darker.
What a thick black cloud it is, and how fast it moves. Why, I do believe it's got wings.
It's a crow!
And who are you? Who am I? Yes. Who are you? Well, I hardly know, just at present, sir. At least, I knew who I was when I woke up this morning, but I seem to have changed since then. What do you mean by that? Explain yourself. Well, I can't explain myself, sir, I'm afraid, but because I don't feel like myself today, you see? I don't see. Well, I'm afraid I can't put more clear, for I can't begin to understand it myself to begin. Changing is very confusing. It isn't. Well, perhaps you've not found so yet, but when you have to turn into a chrysalis, you will someday, and then into a butterfly, I'm sure you'll feel a bit strange, won't you? Not a bit. Well, maybe your feelings are different. All I know is it would feel very strange to me. You? Who are you? I think you ought to tell me who you are first. So you think you're changed, do you? I'm afraid so. Being one person is overrated. What do you want to be? Oh, I'm not particular to who, only what you feel like oneself. I don't know. There she is! Who? I mean me. I mean the girl who looks like me. If you ask me, that girl is you. And if she is me, then who am I? I don't know.
What's your number? You're not supposed to pay me like that. That's not fine. What's going on with something? You'd better not talk. I heard the queen say only yesterday you deserve to be beheaded. What for? You know what for. It's for giving the hood to a princess instead of onion. That's none of your business. It is my business. Well, go on beyond justice.
Would you tell me, please, why you were painting those roses?
Well, you see, miss, this is supposed to be a raspberry question. But what happened by mistake? And the queen notified that we should have all had it. So you see, miss, the queen.
Who is this? What's your name, child?
My name is Alice, Your Majesty.
And who are these?
How should I know? It's no business of mine.
I see. Off with their head.
Nonsense.
Consider, my dear, she's only a child.
Turn them over. Get up. Stop that. You make me giddy. What have you been doing here?
Well, you see, your majesty, we were trying to...
I see. Off with their heads.
Don't worry, you won't be beheaded. Look over there.
Are their heads off?